All right, welcome, travelers. This is Nitzan Moser, the traveling investor. How are you? It's been a great week. Glad to be here. And this gentleman that is sitting to my he's sitting to my right. Um, we met about a year ago at another investing conference, and yeah, something's going up with the screen here, right? Yeah, all right. Well, this guy sitting to my right, we met about a year ago at a conference in Boston. And since then, we've been keeping in touch. He's got a podcast, the syndication podcast. I want to read this, what it says here on his bio. Check this out. So, by the way, his name is Whitney Sewell. Whitney is a country boy from rural Kentucky. Still drives a Chevy truck. He's a veteran of the Army National Guard and spent all of 2005 deployed in Iraq. He was awarded the Soldier of the Year. When he came back, he started working for the Kentucky State Police. And he's got a wife. He's got 3 kids. I want to talk a little bit more about that. But in 2009, Whitney, you started investing in real estate. And well, first of all, thanks for being on the show. Got a little technical difficulties going on over here, but I think we're covered. So what got you started in real estate?
Thanks for letting me be on the show. It's an honor to get to know you a little bit, and it's on and be on your show. But back in 2009 is when I was working for Kentucky State Police, and I was a police officer working every night, weekend, and holiday, and just making practically nothing, or in the we'll say in the 30s, low 30,000s, and there was no room for advancement. I had to find some other way to make some other income. I didn't grow up around any kind of real estate entrepreneurs, didn't even think of that being an option, and somehow I got introduced to Rich Dad Poor Dad, but that just initially opened my eyes to doing some research about real estate, and and the more research I did, I found out that a lot of people have made a lot of wealth, even if it's just a second income, by owning rentals and through real estate. And so that initially is what pushed me into pursuing real estate. And at that time, it wasn't a thought to go full time or to do the scale we are now, because I'd never dreamed of doing what we're doing now. But it was more so to just create some more income at that time, because my JOB income was so low. So that's initially what got us started into real estate and pushed me in that direction.
Well, so you saw real estate as a vehicle for you to make some extra cash, and so how did you get started? You read the book, right? Did you have a network of people that you can go to, that you can reach out? What did you do for education in real estate other than Rich Man Poor Dad? Because that's a book, right? People, right? So what are your thoughts on where to get started, and what should be some of the first steps? Because you're involved now in over 900 doors, right? Valued over $120 million, and you've raised capital as well. You've got the syndication podcast show, so you're in it. You're somebody who's traveling the country, who's making things happen. You're building your business, your team. So what were some of the first steps after you started reading that book, after you were involved and you said, oh, you know what, I read Rich Man Poor Dad? What were the next steps?
Initially, I would say I got started and I was very gung ho. That's the way I like to do things. So let's educate, but then let's make it happen. But ultimately, initially in 2009, I would say I got started a little prematurely before I'd educated enough. I didn't have a good coach, and I educated some, and that was mostly through books. Talking to some people, but we were in the process of a move as well, and I bought 2 triplexes really quickly. And I actually found somebody that became a partner and invested with me, in that. And so somehow we made a lot of things happen. We did. We made a lot of things happen. I look back and I think, well, how did the bank even give us the loan, for that? But they did. And anyway, we made it happen. We learned a lot the hard way, in which it taught us a lot, sure. And it's paid off now, in a big way. It's pushed us further, because of that first deal where maybe it didn't go as well, as we had hoped. But we didn't lose money. The investor made the money that he was promised, and he was happy, and we gained a lot of education from it. And so it wasn't until probably about 3 years ago where I really seen something bigger than just like single family homes or duplexes, triplexes, that type of thing, right, and really hit the education a lot harder and started educating myself, hired a coach and really just dug in, spending a lot more time and a lot more committed and devoted to the business.
Well, that's fantastic. That's some great information. So now you took that knowledge, and where did you take it? I'm sorry, we're having some technical stuff going on here with the videos and everything, but we're back now. So did your wife get involved? What did your wife think when you told her that you want to get started in real estate? You know, a lot of times, you know, when we say to people, hey, you know what, I want to start investing. I want to take money and do something new. And I think it's going to work great. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea about the industry, about anything, but we're going to make a ton of money. Trust me. Right. So what was her take on it?
That's a great question. And my wife is amazing. I'll put that out there. She is amazing, extremely supportive. And initially, you know, on board, she was very on board. Didn't play a big role, I would say, in the real estate side. You know, our focus and really another push for us to do real estate was for her to be at home with the kids, and that was very important to us. And so that pushed us to create more income. And so she could leave her job, and so that's what we did. But initially, you know, she didn't have much of a role in the real estate business, and still don't. But I tell everybody she works a lot harder than I do. Extremely supportive. I couldn't do it without her. You know, I'm putting in 60, 80 plus hours a week, most weeks now. To make this happen. And I could not do it if she wasn't working so hard in the background and wasn't so supportive. So, real estate, specifically, she doesn't play a big role, but, directly, but I would say indirectly, she plays a massive role in our success, in allowing and supporting me the way she does.
Sure. Absolutely. There's a saying, the person that you share your bed with, right, is the one that will either, be your demise or the factor for your success, right? It's who's whispering in your ear, who's supporting you, who's not supporting you, who's telling you that, your dreams are just ridiculous, you're never going to do it, or who's sitting there telling you, you know what, go for it, honey, go do it. You can do it, you can make it happen. So it's really interesting. Do most businessmen get their wives involved? That's a great question. We just got a question from a listener. Do most men get their wives involved in their businesses? You know what? I don't know about most men. I can tell you that when I was flipping houses, my wife was the interior designer. She was the color coordinator. She's an artist. So I left that up to her. What walls to take down, what walls to put up, what, kitchen layouts and all that kind of stuff. So she was involved in that, in the design aspect of it. But, because it was my business and I knew the numbers and I knew the inside workings of the business, I was the one buying the houses, doing the deals, selling the houses. So she had a part in it, right? Just, I'm sure your wife has maybe a small part, but you got to be careful when you're getting your spouse involved, because you want to make sure that business is business. And when it's family time, it's family time, and you don't argue, you don't, go at each other in personal time when, dealing with business, right? So you really want to kind of keep that separate. What do you think?
Yeah, I could also add, when we got started and not being educated enough, it caused more stress, so that affected her, obviously, and us in a big way, right? And so now, it's much differently. We have more of a structured business, and we understand more about business, more about real estate and our goals and how we're going to get there and our team and those types of things, where back then, she was more involved. She would hear me, complain more about what's happening, and, it affected her a lot more then as well. But it's very different, very different business altogether.
Yeah. It's true. You gotta make sure that everybody knows the roles that they're playing and keep it that way. There was another question here. I'm trying to get to it. Let me see if we can. Also from Alexi. Let's see. Where was it? There. Okay. So, wives, spouses, right? It's a line, right? It's a line that you got to be careful.
Yeah, I mean, mine has been extremely supportive, but yes, how much are they going to be involved? And you just got to have time away from business, and it's hard to do if you're both in business.
Right. Yeah, you got to have that quality time, that time that it's just you and the wife, you and your spouse, and just enjoying yourselves outside the business. Because
I will say that there's no one that I would trust more. There's no one that I would rather spend the time with, and so it does work for some people. I see some people be very successful with their spouse in the same business, but others swear against it. So I think you have to figure that out for yourself to some extent.
Absolutely. All right. So what we're going to do, travelers, is we're going to take a quick break. We're going to listen to our sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Whitney's why. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Please take a moment to listen to the sponsors who have a secret message just for you. Don't leave. The best is yet to come. The Traveling Investor will be right back.
I wanna be rich. Oh, I wanna be rich.
Behind everything you're searching for is something you're actually looking for. When you search with the Real Yellow Pages, you get more than a contractor. You get a whole new curb appeal. It's not just getting directions to a dry cleaner with YP.com. It's rescuing an old favorite from the back of the closet. And it's more than finding a locksmith with YP.com on your mobile. It's getting to sleep in your own bed. Whatever it might be, there are more ways to search and more ways to find exactly what you're looking for with the Real Yellow Pages, YP.com, and YP.com on your mobile, only from AT&T.
Hey, this is Rebel Medler. Join me for In Your Face on W4CY.com, Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Fiesta Pet Deli, South Florida's original and only fresh food deli for pets. We carry a full line of products like Bravo, Nature's Variety, and BioComplete. We have FDA-approved meals that are prepared daily. Stop by our brand new store located at Sample Road and the Turnpike in the Festival Flea Market in Pompano, Florida, or call 954-971-2500. Check us out online at www.realfoodforpets.com. If your pet's overweight, suffers from skin problems, or you suspect food allergies, we have the solution. We also carry a large variety of pet strollers, bedding, apparel, collars, leashes, natural chews, and grooming supplies. Veterinarian owned and operated, Fiesta Pet Deli's mission is to help every pet owner have the healthiest pet they possibly can. Call us today for local deliveries or shipping throughout the United States. Call Fiesta Pet Deli today at 954-971-2500. That's 954-971-2500.
You're now tuned in to W4CY Radio, entertainment at your fingertips.
I wanna be rich. Oh, I wanna be rich.
Attention listeners, we are preparing once again for takeoff, so please return your seats as W4CY Radio welcomes back your real estate guru, the Traveling Investor, Nitsan Mosery.
Hey, travelers, welcome back. Nitsan Mosery here, and I'm sitting with the man, Whitney Sewell. The guy runs the syndication podcast. He was, what was it? A country boy from rural Kentucky. It's awesome. But while we were on break, we had some questions here, right? So, Alexi, going back to you, let's see what you have, what you wanted to say here. Do you think most wives are supportive of their husband when they ask? I do believe that most wives are supportive, and if they're not, they should be, right?
Right. Yes, that relationship goes deeper than just real estate.
Absolutely, baby. Absolutely, right? Let's see. We got one from Jake. When you own the business, I feel wives push to know more than when you... Oh, you stopped that there, huh? You stopped in the middle of the thought. Maybe you had to change your heart there, huh, Jake? But I think women, the wives, want to know because they want to feel included. They want to feel a part of it, right? They don't want to feel as if they're an outsider.
Yeah, and I would also say happy anniversary to my wife. This week is 11 years, and I have learned though that to that question specifically, they want to know more. I want her to know because she has insight about things that she's not educated about real estate specifically. But there are times when she can give an answer, and I need to listen. I mean, it has paid to listen, and so anyway, I want to include her personally.
Absolutely, it's like having a mastermind in your own living room, because this is someone that has their own perspective, their own outlook, their own way of looking at the world, and they come with their ideas that's outside of the industry, outside of the business, right? So it's just having that other perspective talking to you, right? And it's got to be done in a loving, respectful, and kind way.
Yes, she's not going to be as emotional about maybe this next big deal as I am, but I can tell her some details, and right away she can say, oh, no, that guy just doesn't sound like a good partner, or maybe this one does. And it helped me to see things that I'm blind to.
Absolutely. That's why they call it, women's intuition, right? They have that gut instinct, where, okay, that's the person you want to talk to, and that's not the person you want to talk to. And speaking of women, by the way, I've got a partner, my business partner, Laura Marmontel. I'm going to give her a shout out here. She's probably one of the smartest people I know. She's got a double master's in economics from the University of Orleans in France. And she's also got a master's degree from the University of Miami in economics. Probably one of the smartest people I know. She can read spreadsheets and all that, and she can do much, much more. What she does just blows my mind. And she is now, can we see this here? Where is it? Come on, focus. You can't focus. All right. Well, let's see. Right here. So the book is called Conversations with the Team That Creates the Dream, the top female professionals who can help you get wealthy in real estate. There's a lot more women getting involved in real estate, and I wish we could see this. And this book is something that can really help a lot more women get involved because, just like most industries today, there's not a lot of women involved in it, right? It's one of those things where men used to be involved and it was just men and women trying to get into it just weren't able to. So that's a great book for all of you women out there that want to start looking into real estate, don't know where, don't know how. That's a great book. Plus, the other book that I started reading here, come on, we can do it. We can do it, my friend. All right. Anyway, it's The Four Agreements. It's by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's a fantastic book. I just started reading it. I highly recommend it. Whitney, what are some of the books that you have read that have really made an impact in your life?
Initially, it was Rich Dad Poor Dad as far as real estate related. And on a bigger picture, I would say the Bible. Most days I'm trying to read. But as far as business, a book recently that I would recommend is called The Road Less Stupid, and it's been a good one. It's a good business book, and Keith Cunningham, I think, is the author, and just some really good things that you need to know, as far as running a business and working with people, and as far as the syndication business, Joe Fairless' best ever syndication apartment syndication book is really good. It lays out a lot of details that you need to know about, the syndication business when you're getting started. There's many, but that's a couple as far as real estate related.
Awesome. Yeah. One of my mentors, he wrote a book called Emerging Market Cycles. David Lindahl. That's a great book for someone to get involved, so you understand which markets to get involved in, how to identify where the market is on that cycle, right? All that kind of stuff. So that's a good book. And of course, the all-time favorite that we all read is Think and Grow Rich, right? It's kind of the entrepreneur handbook right there. And speaking of that, when are we doing that? November 4th, I believe. We're having our mastermind group here. And Whitney, I would love to have you, swing by and come down and be with us. It'll be here in Boca. We'll be able to go to the beach afterwards. Have some fun. Grab a couple of drinks afterwards, and it'll be a great time for everyone. So it'd be great for you to be here. I want to talk a little bit about mindset, right? You were in the military. I was in the Israeli army, right? There's a certain mindset that you need to have to be able to survive, to exceed as well, right? How does that mindset from the military transfer into entrepreneurial life, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be real estate, right? But being an entrepreneur, being able to be disciplined. How do those two worlds coincide?
It's a great question, and I actually was just talking about this morning on another show, and just the way that in the military has that experience has helped me in so many ways. And it was very valuable, just boot camp along, much less many other experiences going overseas and different things that you have to work through and get through and really teach yourself that, it may be difficult, but you can still do it. And, boot camp alone, you're going on very little sleep, and that's what they're teaching you. They are teaching you that, hey, you can do this. You can go on just 2 hours of sleep for a few days, and keep going. And they put enough pressure on you to teach you to do that and to think that way. And so, there's times now where even if I'm on a jog and I'm like, well, I just really like to quit, and walk, I'll start singing cadence to myself, just even in my head, and it helps me to get back into that mindset of, nope, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going, and through obviously police academy and all that's the same thing, it's just really teaching you that, okay, it's difficult, but it's not that difficult. We can keep doing this and we can keep going. And in business, it's really, it's mind. I mean, it's so mindset. And I'm learning that over and over and over in a deeper way, is that, it's as long as my mindset is to win and to make this happen, and and we are consistent, we keep moving forward, we're going to reach the goal, and that's what we've done. And I see that time and time again. It's not so difficult. We're going to quit and give up, but how do we make this happen? How do we keep going? And that's, I mean, the military and law enforcement academy has really helped me to grow that and have that mindset of just, nope, well, let's get it done. If it means up every morning late or early and work until midnight, then if that's what it takes, let's get it done. Let's get started, right? Let's not just talk about it and wish it wasn't so. Let's get started so we can get past this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's so true. The Army does, it breaks you down, right? They give you very minimal sleep. They're on top of you. You're dirty. You're wondering, why are you here? Why, you're questioning your own existence at that point, right? But then with the right support team, with the right mental support, with the right physical support, then they build you back up, right? And like you said, the one thing that I learned, there were a lot of things I learned, but one of the strongest and most impactful things that I learned from being in the military is you can do whatever you set your mind to. You can go, like you said, we can go 3-4 days without sleep and still be sharp and still make decisions and still go, because if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. There's nobody else that's going to do it, right? And it's the same thing here, right? There are days when you wake up and it's like, I just don't feel like making those phone calls. I don't feel like getting on that plane and going for another 3 days to another conference and schmooze and talk. But you get up and you do it, because that's what separates 97% of the people from 3%.
That reminds me of just a little story. But we're in boot camp at the very end. There's this like 3 or 4 day trip. We go on, we hike out. I don't know if it's 15 to 20 miles, and of course the drill sergeants take you all over the place, increasing that mileage. But you don't sleep. The whole time they keep you up. You're digging foxholes. You're doing all kinds of just seems to be crazy stuff. But they are just exhausting you and just really pushing you to the limit, so you can see what you can do. And I remember on the way back though, the last day, it's going to be at least 14, 15 mile ruck march, and we're going up the side of the road. We're march, carrying all our gear. And, and we're at least 10 or 12 miles in, and there's trucks going by that are carrying soldiers in the back who have given up, who have quit, and right then I said, I'm not riding in that truck. I'm not going to do it. I can do this. And I did. But that, those experiences have helped me tremendously in business and in real estate as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you see other people failing, it boosts you.
Yeah.
Right. It's okay to fail. I've failed and I continue to fail. Right. And I tell my daughters, every time I fail as a father, when I say, what, I could have done this better, I hone up to it. Right? Hey, you know what? I'm sorry I didn't do that well, because, I realized I could have done this better, and I apologize. But that's how we learn, right? We learn from our failures more so than our successes. That's right. Right. I was in Dallas at another event this past weekend, and we were talking about failures, and somebody asked me, what was the one thing that you learned from all the deals that you closed? And I said, what? Actually, I learned more from the deals that I didn't close than I did from the ones that I did, because I have so many more deals that didn't close compared to the ones that did close. So I had more failures than I've had successes. But you have to go through that through that failure to be able to have success. You got to go out there. You got to do it. You got to take that step. But, like in the military, we have a good support system. You've got the commanders. You've got your unit. You've got your team that have done this before, that have been there before, that know where to step, where to go. And you rely on them to make sure that you stay alive. And then they rely on you as well. Right. So that's like, syndication is building your team. Right.
Yes.
Building your team strong, having the right players in the right market. Right. So how do you go about building your teams in the different markets that you're investing in?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Teams are so important. And I would also go back to the failure thing for just a minute. I had a good friend contact me not a week ago, and they were looking at growing their business, and they want to make room to increase their team. I mean, ultimately, and it's a different type of business, not real estate. But we were talking about it, and somebody had advised them to not purchase, I'll say, this property where they were looking to grow and increase their team. And the reasoning was because so many entrepreneurs fail. And I said, well, the only ones that have ever succeeded are the ones that tried. And are willing to risk the failure. And so, all of us have failed at some time or another. And just like Nitsan mentioned, I mean, that's when you're going to improve. That's how you're going to get better. And you can't be afraid of it. You can't be afraid of it. And so, but our teams, it's a big process. And I do a lot with virtual assistants and VAs, and I use them and have for a long time. And I've had a lot of success using virtual assistants. But in specific markets, it's going to take, a lot of research. It's going to take me going there numerous times if it's not local, and it's usually not. But it's going to take a lot of trips there, lots of emails, lots of phone calls, and, scheduling these things and talking to all these people, following back up, making notes. And, what did we talk about last time, or making, appointments to follow back up with that person about specific things. And, no matter if it's a broker or property management or whoever that may be, it's a lot of time, and it's being consistent, and it's being very dedicated to having a system, creating a system to even build that team there on the ground.
Yep, absolutely. That's awesome. That's fantastic. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to hear about Whitney's why, and we'll talk about why and purpose behind what we do when we come back. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Who have a secret message just for you. Don't leave. The best is yet to come. The Traveling Investor will be right back.
I wanna be rich. Oh, I wanna be rich.
Hey everyone, I'm Jimmy Starr, the king of cool and your host of the Jimmy Starr Show, the entertainment radio show for all you cool and unique people looking to get a behind-the-scenes peek at what's going on in the entertainment industry. Listen in as me and my cool crowd of co-hosts bring you celebrity guests, new music, and the good times in fashion, entertainment, and pop culture. Right, everybody? Right! Tune in live Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on W4CY.com.
You wanted the best, you got the best. Your favorite internet radio station in the land, W4CY Radio. We have all the entertainment you desire, from talk to music to comedy, right here on W4CY.com. Listen to W4CY Radio 24/7 for giveaways, exciting contests, and fun. Informational, motivational, entertaining, interactive. It's W4CY.com.
Saturday night.
You know exactly how much sun and water every flower needs in order to bloom. You know when someone's in love based on the bouquet purchased. You know flowers. We can help you find more people to buy them. And by working together, we can get your small business growing. At AT&T Advertising Solutions, we have more ways to reach more people. With print, online, mobile, and direct marketing, AT&T Advertising Solutions has local advertising experts to help your small business find more customers. Call 1-800-GET-REAL to learn more. AT&T, rethink possible.
Won't you fly free, bird, yeah.
Hey, I'm Johnny. I'm Gary. And I'm Ricky. And you're listening to W4CY because it's the best of radio. And this is Leonard Skinner.
There you go.
Skinner!
A Attention listeners, we are preparing once again for takeoff, so please return your seats as W4CY Radio welcomes back your real estate guru, the traveling investor, Neetson Mosery.
What's happening, travelers? Neetson Mosery here, and this is I'm the traveling investor, and this good-looking guy right here that's all decked out is Whitney Sewell, a good old boy from Kentucky who still drives his Chevy van. Truck. Ah, I ruined it. Chevy truck. Cool. So before we went, we were talking about fear. We were talking about overcoming fear, and I just wanted to add to that as well. There we go. There we go. It's funny, but kids, right? You've got 2 kids. You just have a new one right now, right? This is your 3rd one. But when you look at kids are constantly failing, especially babies, and they don't give a crap. They stand up, they fall, they crack their head, they come back up, they try to eat, it goes over here, they try to drink, it goes over here. They fail, you right? They want to suck their finger, they poke themselves in the eye. Failing miserably, constantly, but they never give up. Imagine if when we were kids, if we would give up before we could walk, if we would give up before we could speak, before we could eat, before we could do anything like that. Imagine where we would be as a race. So something happens to us when we grow up that suddenly we realize that, failing is no good. I think it's when we go into school and we start getting judged based on our failures, right? Instead of our successes, right? We got 3 wrong, we got 10 wrong, we got 22 wrong, rather than telling us what we did right. So it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail as long as you continue on that road and figure out, this didn't work. That's okay. Let me figure out what works, right? So now, I don't have a great segue into this next part, but after we overcome the fear, right? After we overcome fear, here we go. I'm just going to stop moving. There we go. Once we overcome fear and we figure out, okay, this is what we want to do, and we put the systems in place, and we wake up every morning and every day, and we go out and we do it, eventually there's going to come a time where we're going to get smacked in the face, where we're going to get knocked down really, really hard, and we got to have this reason, this passion, something that drives us, right? I love Mike Tyson. He's got a great saying. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? So we got to have a reason why we wake up in the morning, and a lot of times when I work with my consulting clients, I ask them, I said, why do you want to do what you want to do? Oh, because I want to make money. Oh, because I want, this and that. But, then I ask them, okay, you wake up one morning and you have everything you've ever wanted, right? You've got your money, you've got your lifestyle. Why do you continue doing what you're doing? And that's the why. That's the passion. That's the desire that comes from. And Whitney, we talked about this. Was this yesterday that we met? It was yesterday, right? We had coffee in the morning, and Whitney brought one of his sons over, Elijah, which is my dad's name, which is a really strong name. It's an awesome name. But tell us about your nuclear family right now, about you, your wife, and your kids, and how that came to be, and share with us, because this is a moving story, because this shows a why, but it also shows people giving from themselves to people that, hey, strangers in a way, right? And opening their hearts and their homes. So here, I'm going to stop talking. You take it.
Awesome. Well, I think having a strong why sometimes helps you overcome those fears or that failure possibly. We're trying to figure out the camera here. There we go. So, years ago, or quite a few years ago now, my wife and I were listening to a pastor. He was talking about caring for orphans and widows, and he had adopted, he and his wife had adopted some children, and my wife and I had never considered adopting before. But on our way home, we had about an hour drive. It was like 1 a.m, and we, the more we thought about it, it was like, we can't think of a good reason why we would not adopt. Like, why would we not? Why would we not do that? And so within a week's time, we put in our application to adopt from Ethiopia. And so 2 years to the month, it took a long time, and it's a major roller coaster. It's really a shame that it's this difficult, but it is, and extremely costly. 2 years to the month, our first son, Samuel, came home from Ethiopia. And so, an amazing day. Yeah, Samuel. So Samuel, he was 7 months old, and now he's 6 and doing amazing. And obviously, we're so thankful for him. But then about 9 or 10 months later, our second son came home, Elijah, and then we're actually in Florida right now. That's why we were able to meet with Nitzan yesterday, was because we were down here for our third adoption, and our third child was born just about a week and a half ago. And it's just an amazing thing. So this, growing our family through adoption, and we're just loving these children. And there's more than 160 million orphans worldwide. Wow. And one reason we considered Ethiopia in the beginning was just because of the great need. There's like 5 million or more just in that one country. But just the roller coaster it takes to adopt a child is ridiculous, I'll say. I mean, it is horrible, but it's well worthwhile. You're looking to $40,000 to $60,000 to bring one child home. Through an adoption process. Wow. And lots of travel, obviously sometimes international, numerous trips, all over the place, but well worth it. And so it's been very difficult for us in the past to be able to adopt and be able to afford to adopt. And we meet lots of families who would love to adopt, but they say, Whitney, that's more than I'm making a year. How in the world can I afford $40,000 to $60,000? And I don't even make that. What could we even do? We just can't do it. And that's where Lifebridge Capital really wants to play a big role in helping families adopt children, and we're committing half of our profits to helping families with those expenses. And so obviously we want to keep adopting as well. But my wife and I, there you go. My wife plays a big role in that part, though. In that and helping this get started. And we just have a passion for helping these other families, and we just know the strain that it's been on us financially initially in getting started and through this process. And there's tons of details that I could share, and we'd love to. If someone's considering adopting, I would say reach out to me. My wife and I are happy to get on a conference call, and help you in some way, or share with you from our process, from the processes we've been through, and help you.
If you want to share your contact info so people know how to get in touch.
Yeah. You can go to, you can email me, Whitney at lifebridgecapital.com. You can go to Lifebridge Capital, or you can call me 540-585-4338 and call or text, and happy to help in any way.
Awesome, man. So you've got 2 boys and you just got a girl now, huh? That's right. Oh boy. There's a saying, when you have girls in the house, the house is always lit, right? It's always on, the lights are always on when you've got girls in the house, wondering when they're coming home and who they're bringing home. But, that's awesome, man. So, it's this industry, multifamily real estate, passive investing, active investing, right? But building passive income allows you to go and to do what Whitney's doing, which is making a positive change in the world, taking kids, that otherwise wouldn't have a place to live, and giving them a home, giving them giving them love, right? But you also knew that on your salary, you weren't able to do that. So you had to go and you had to find another way of supplementing your income, of growing your income, so that eventually you can step away from, that JOB, right? And we all know what JOB stands for, right? Just over broke, right? They pay you just enough so that you need to stay there, but you can't go anywhere else, right? And I commend you. That's a fantastic thing to be able to build a company that 50% of your profits go back to helping people that want to adopt, and that's just that's just totally giving from your heart. And more people out there should be doing what you're doing. So that's fantastic. What are some of the projects that you're working on now?
So we in real estate, I assume.
Well, if you want to tell us other private stuff, sure. We'd love to listen.
Our adoptions, we hope to continue to adopt, by the way. But and so we will start that process again soon, because it takes so long. It takes up to 2 years at times. So, but real estate wise, we are continually growing our team. Just like we mentioned earlier, we're in Colorado Springs at the moment, and we are growing our team there. We've done a couple acquisitions there, and growing there, and starting to look in some other markets as well. But specific opportunity that closed there about 6 weeks ago. It was 180 units, Class C property, and so we're excited about that, and we're hopefully we'll tour a few more over the next week or so.
That's awesome, man. That's fantastic. And so are you sourcing these deals yourself, or are you finding other investors and you're partnering up with them?
So to get started, I did partner with another team that was very well established and helped me to build a track record and learn the industry a lot better. But now I have a partner that's in Denver, and we're growing this, our own business together. And now we've done a couple deals in Colorado Springs, and that's really pushed us in a big way by partnering and really being able to split up these roles and be able to be focused on specific things and be really specialists at specific parts of the industry. And so we can trust one another, to be doing different parts of the business. Like you're talking about your team, is a very important part of our team, but we split up those roles so we can really grow faster.
Yeah, that's great. So how many people do you have on your team right now?
So, I would say on like a sponsorship side on a deal, that's just me and one other guy. Mm-hmm. But if you counted virtual assistants and people like that are also supporting this, there's about 5 of us.
Right. That's good. It's a good start to a team, and as we mentioned earlier, right, your wife is a big part of the team as well, right? Right. You got to have somebody taking care of the house and, and supporting you in that aspect, right? So that you can focus on what you need to do. We definitely don't discount our spouses, right? It's all about them. So cool. So we talked about your why, right? Why you're doing this, right? So you can help other people adopt and whatnot, your passion, your children. Talked about your business, right? Let's talk a little bit about what's going on now. I just read an article that the Feds are cutting rates by another 25 basis points. What's your take on that?
I didn't hear that. I need to get that information.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. They're Trump is pushing them to lower their rates to keep this expansion process that's going on in the U.S. economy continuing, right? They want it to grow. They want it to continue. The more, the lower the interest rates, the more people are going to borrow money, right? More people are going to buy real estate. More people are going to buy homes. It just generates a lot of, it generates the economy, right? It keeps it flowing and whatnot. Do you think that it's a sign for good things to come, or a sign for, things may be shaken up a little bit?
I don't know. I personally see things shaking up a little bit at some point, but but there's no way to know, right? There's numerous ways we're going to be prepared when we're buying property for that potential downturn, whether that's long-term debt, whether that's having a significant reserve budget, or obviously, things like that. But there's no way to know. There's no way to know. We expect it, but there's no way to know for sure.
Right. Expect the worst, right? But we work towards the best, and like you said, we have to be conservative in our underwriting, mm-hmm. right? We got to put on that long-term debt, so if there's something does happen, we can ride that wave out. But yeah, so Fed's dropping another quarter, 25 basis points. Let's see what happens, right? This economy is growing strong. The Trump train is in full force and it's moving forward. So, let's see what happens. I'm excited to see where it goes. Who knows? Who knows what happens? But we've got a few minutes. I wanna give you something. Hold on. Take this for a second. So, being on the show, I want to give you a traveling investor T-shirt.
Awesome.
So that when you travel, you can say, hey, you know what? I'm a traveling investor. So that's one for you, but also I've got 2 for your boys.
Wow, that's incredible.
And we got a nice little pen here from the traveling investor, right? Well, if we can get that into alignment there, right? You got that right there. So, I want to thank you, Whitney, for being on the show. For taking the time out. I know you're super busy, especially with the adoption and what's going on. You're a busy guy. You're a well-dressed man as well. He walks into the office looking like this. I go, oh man, I need to go home, put on my suit. But so where does the road take you next?
Well, we are pursuing more deals, as most people are, growing that team like we talked about. Podcast is growing, it's a daily show, so it's a lot of work, but it's been very worthwhile and connecting with a lot of people through that. But pretty quickly, I see us doing more deals, and growing this team like you talked about. And that's really what we're pursuing at the moment. I've had numerous conversations actually just today with other potential team members, but also even syndication attorneys and different people like that we're looking to add to our team. So that's where that's what we're pursuing, is to grow, but we're looking to grow conservatively and as legally as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would be, if you would leave us with, 3 of the top things that investors should know, look out for, as people starting on their journey into real estate?
That's a great question, and I hear that a lot on my show too, where people ask, or I ask other people, like the one thing that's made them successful. And it's so consistent. I hear people say, be consistent, be persistent and consistent, and push hard. And while that's so important, and that goes back to that mindset, like we talked about. Mm-hmm. And if your mindset's not there, if it's not ready, then you're probably going to quit when you get kicked in the face or punched in the face, like you were talking about, right? But as far as, okay, let's have our mindset ready, let's be motivated, all those things, but you do have to be educated. And one important part that has really propelled me in a big way is having a coach. And I can't stress it enough. And I interviewed somebody else today that we were talking about having a coach, and he was talking about how at first, he did not want to have a coach. He felt like, no, it's not for me. But it has proved time and time again to be a key element to improving your success and making it happen much quicker, but much more fast. And so I can't stress enough, having a coach, having your mindset, and being educated.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, having a coach is huge. I mean, we look at all the all the athletes. I've got next week on the show, I've got a former Tennessee Titan NFL player, right? So on the show, everybody has a coach. Right? You've got, your wife gets pregnant, she's got a birthing coach, right? Your kids, you put them in soccer, taekwondo, whatever. Everybody's got a coach. Michael Jackson had a coach. What's his name? The golfer, what's his name? Tiger Woods. He had a coach. Everybody's got a coach, right? But what they don't teach us is to get financial coaches, life coaches, right? People that have systems that can, take you from A to B, right? And people, I talk to a lot of people, and they think that a coach is someone that's going to actually do it for you, right? Oh, I'm going to get a coach. They're going to do everything. They're going to create my website. They're going to create this. They're going to do all this stuff. They're going to find me my investors. No, that's not what a coach does, right? Coach kind of sits back and almost does nothing but analyze and observe. Watch where you're going, right? Watch how, I love Jim Rohn's saying, right? The wind blows on everybody the same way. It's how you set your sails, right? And a good coach knows which way the direction of the wind is blowing and knows exactly how you need to set your sails to get you to where you need to go. So it's really key to have a great coach that can connect with you and who's been there and done that before, right?
That's right.
It's just like in the Army, right?
Yes, no doubt. You got to have a coach, somebody that's been there and done it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, find yourself a coach, find yourself somebody that's out there, that's grinding, that's in the ditches, that's doing it now, that's closing deals, that's raising capital, and tag along. Right. And with that, Whitney, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a pleasure having you. I'm so grateful to get to know you even better and to really connect and looking forward to, maybe working together and collaborating on things together.
No, I'm excited about it. It's been great to get to know you as well. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. So, travelers, I'm going to leave you with this last thing. All right. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your fields and rain fall softly upon your fields. Until next time, this is the Traveling Investor and Whitney Sewell. We'll see you next week somewhere on Spaceship Earth. Take care.
Great show. Are you excited to learn the untold secrets of how to get wealthy? Then tune in next Thursday and every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern right here on W4CY Radio. You too can learn how to become a traveling investor. If you missed any part of this episode or want to hear it again, go to the Traveling Investor podcast on iHeartRadio. You can listen to all past episodes on demand 24/7. Next week's episode will take us somewhere new and exciting, so don't miss it. Thank you for listening.
I wanna